Welcome, and thanks for joining in with us for a few minutes today as we're going to talk about some exciting things, year-end giving and taxes. Maybe that year-end giving piece is a little more exciting to you than taxes, but we know at this time of year that the two often go hand in hand. I've got with me today Chris Carter, who is with SCA, an ARGI affiliate, but near and dear to our heart is that Chris serves on the Central Kentucky Community Foundation Board, and we appreciate the time and service that he gives to us in that role and the value that he adds to our board. And of course, as a tax professional, he offers lots of expertise as we're going to talk about year-end giving. So thanks for being with us, Chris.
Yeah, thank you.
So we know that this year there are a couple of changes that might affect people as they're making those final decisions on year-end giving. Tell us what people need to know about giving and tax strategies this year.
Sure. So one important part of the legislation that was passed here recently was the new $300 deduction, which is an above-the-line deduction. So not necessarily that you need to itemize. So a couple years ago with the Tax Act that was passed, the standard deduction increased quite a bit, which limited some of the itemizing that some of our clients were doing. So with this year, with the 2020 tax year, we have the opportunity to take for qualified charities a deduction above the line of $300. So this is a nice change for some. So something to look out for, and definitely to contact your tax advisor on that.
So for people that have been thinking, you know, I've not been able to itemize the last couple of years, but maybe you are still charitably minded or you give, make sure that you keep that receipt.
Right, absolutely.
And if you haven't yet this year, there are lots of local organizations that could benefit from those gifts. You're welcome to give more than $300, but you're going to be able to get a credit on your tax for up to $300.
Right. So that was one of the significant changes there. But for those who do itemize, it's a perfect opportunity to be able to take advantage of what they call either bunching too. So if your deductions 1 year or you're looking for charitable contributions and you're not going to get over the limits of $12,400 or the $24,800 for the 2020 tax year, you can look at bunching some of your deductions. So something that you want to contact your tax advisor, look at where you're at with your situation with Schedule A itemized deductions, which also include property taxes and your mortgage interest for your home. So what you can do, what some people will do is they'll basically take 2 years worth of deductions and include those into 1 year, and then maybe the next year go back to using the standard deduction at that time. So it's a good opportunity to really get with your advisor here at the end of the year before 12/31, because once you get past that date, there's nothing you can do beyond that. So
and so obviously quite a tax expert here, but we always encourage people, consult your own tax professional, because we know every situation's different, and we're talking in generalities here.
Sure.
about how things work. But some of those are pretty universal. Everyone can take advantage of that universal deduction, the $300.
Right.
So bunching has been something that's gotten really popular in the last couple of years, and that we've been able to help several donors with. As you described it, you know, if you want to bunch those gifts, but you may still want to be able to support those organizations annually, not just a larger gift every other year, because we know they depend on that. And that's something we can do here at Central Kentucky Community Foundation through a donor advised fund.
Absolutely.
To help get the tax deduction in the year that the donor needs it, but still be able to make those gifts out to the organizations where they want it to go on their normal timeline.
Right, and that's a great opportunity. I'm a firm believer in that. The community foundation, you can set up the donor advised funds, and as DeVette, as you mentioned, basically what we're going to be doing is taking the deduction on your tax return for this year. But for example, if you gave a $20,000 deduction or donation to the community foundation would take that money at that time, create a fund for you, and then over however many years, you can give that money out to the charities at that point in time. But you'll take the tax deduction on the year that you give that and receive that acknowledgement from the foundation.
And that's an important piece of what we try to offer for folks. Our community is so generous, but we want people to be able to be tax smart about how they give so that they get the best benefit for their generosity, and that in turn just helps our community even more. So we have sometimes people ask us, well, where do I give? What do I do? And we have over 150 funds that you can give to help support almost any field of interest or focus that you have in our community. And you can do that online on our website at ckcf4people.org. But for those of you that still like pen and paper, you can mail a check or drop it off at 200 Jim Owen Drive. And if you do go online, you can see descriptions of those funds, see a variety of the work that's going on in the community. We know this year has been a challenging year for our community and for a lot of organizations. So it's a good time to really think about what matters to you and how can you make a difference in those. And two funds that come to mind, since people often ask us, well, what would you suggest? And what we suggest is what matters to people, because different things are going to matter to different people. But two that stand out to me this year that we're sharing is our Central Kentucky Cares Fund that we established to help with disaster relief, and we know those needs are still out there. We've done 2 rounds of grants, but we know those needs are changing as the end of utility assistance has come, as there's been a second round of business shutdowns, and that those folks can use that support. So we anticipate doing another round and could use people's help in funding those. We also are sharing about our MAID fund. It's Make a Difference Every Day, and that is an unrestricted fund that allows our grants committee to look at where the greatest needs and opportunities are in our community and help make grants out to support those. So it's sort of a way to say, I want to support our community in general, but I'm not really specific in exactly where that needs to go, and I want to be part of a bigger effort that's making that happen. But one last thing that I want to touch on a little bit is we've talked about you can give online and through checks and those things that are cash, but there's also some good opportunities for folks to give through non-cash means.
Absolutely. So the non-cash donations are extremely valuable from a tax strategy standpoint. Looking at appreciated capital assets, a lot of times you're going to hear this with the publicly traded stocks, and you'll see those that are typically something that's gifted before year end. And for example, if you had a stock, if you bought Apple and it was have a cost basis of $1,000 in that, and then you look to donate that and it's valued at $30,000, you're going to get a deduction on your return, barring any AGI limitations or anything to that nature. But talking in generalities, you're going to get a deduction for the $30,000 on a Schedule A itemized deduction and not have to pay the tax on that. So it's a great opportunity. We stress for those to look through their portfolio. This is a good year. The market is up as of today. So it's a good year to look into this and see if that's a strategy that you would like to use on that.
And sometimes we think, oh, those are complicated to do. Is that going to be too much trouble? When you're talking about a significant tax savings, an extra signature or a piece of paper is not a lot of trouble.
Yeah, no trouble at all. And I'll speak from just personal experience with the foundation. Devette and the staff make it so easy to get that done, and really just working with your investment advisor to be able to make that happen. Mm-hmm. So it's not a difficult task at all, and highly recommend to at least look into that before you're in.
One thing we did this year that you were able to help us navigate some on that space is a little bit of a non-traditional gift, and that was we've accepted some real estate.
Right, yeah, so that's very exciting for the foundation. This was our first year to accept real estate as into the foundation, and it was one of those things that we didn't expect it to come, but we actually had 2 that came in this year. So very exciting for us. I would think for the donors too, great tax deduction for them on their side. And then on our side, we were able to establish some funds for them to be able to continue to send that to various charities over many years, really. Mm-hmm. So great opportunity. Again, you definitely want to kind of go through your portfolios and see what's available. And besides just giving the cash gifts, sometimes there's other strategies that could benefit you even more when you look at those non-cash gifts.
And so that's an important piece of how we want to work with people to make sure that they're able to maximize those opportunities and making the best decisions for them financially as they are being generous in our community. We know as we get to the end of the year, a lot of times people are thinking back on the things that they had planned to do this year. You know, sort of that mental ticker list of, I want to get this done. You know, I want to update my will, or, you know, we want to get some improvements made to the house. Maybe you had a wish list of you wanted to travel a lot this year, and for that, I'm really sorry for you, because I'm right there in that same boat. I was not able to do some of those things I wanted to do. But if looking at your giving and thinking about how you can support our community a little more was part of your list, the good news is it's not too late. We can still help you, and most of what we do with people starts with a conversation. It's all personal, it's one-on-one, it's what do you want to accomplish, and creating that fund that does that. Just like Chris mentioned on the real estate gifts, the proceeds from those properties go to help carry out whatever's important to that donor that gave that piece of property. And so we can still sit down with you, socially distanced in person, or virtually, or by phone, and talk about what matters to you and how we can ensure that the funds you create makes an impact in what matters to you. So give us a call, 270-737-8393, or connect to us through our website, and we would love to talk to you about what matters to you in our community.